With all the changes going on in the real estate market right now, it's crazy. How do you know how much your home is worth? Whether you're thinking about buying or selling, there is a right answer here. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can figure out how much a home is worth, whether you're selling or buying. So let's get into it. So really, the price is right. As I am telling you, there are so many reasons why the market may shift. The reasons you may be paying more for a home or the reason your home may be worth less. So that has to do with rising mortgage rates, declining mortgage rates, low inventory, new leadership. As we know, the election, it went crazy. We're not quite sure exactly what's going to happen with it. Buyer demand. Are there a lot of buyers out there? And what does the inventory look like? So these are all things that are outside of your control. You cannot control any of these issues. I usually am talking about the things you can do to control the issues that make your home worth more or worth less. And that's like fixing your maintenance, updating your kitchen, your bathrooms, things like that. But these are the things that you may not be taking into consideration when you're going to sell. So how do you know if the price really is correct? How can you plan for your future if you're thinking about selling? In this method that I'm going to be teaching you, this is a foolproof way to really get very, very close in understanding what a home is worth. Now I've updated my seller's playbook again. If you guys downloaded it before, it's time to download it again. Now it's a 42-page book, and this is going to give you the exact method for you to understand how to price your home. You can follow along with me. Go ahead and download it. I'm going to give you a story, a real true story. This was a few years ago. There was a house that was for sale. It wasn't my listing, but I knew the seller, so I sort of knew what was going on, and they went with a friend to list their house. My husband and I went on a walk, and the house happened to have an open house, so we stopped in. I didn't know the agent, but I knew the house and I knew the area extremely well. And so I just started talking to the agent and I said, gosh, your house seems a little bit overpriced, because when it went on, I was like, oh my gosh, this house is so far overpriced, like hundreds of thousands of dollars overpriced. I said that to the agent and she was like, well, they have to sell. So I have a long listing agreement and this was really the price that she put on it. And we'll just have to reduce it over time. I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe that she admitted to me that she took an overpriced listing because they were going to be stuck in a contract with her. Like, it blew my mind. Now, I had also heard that this seller had gotten 2 other opinions from 2 other experienced agents in the neighborhood, and both of those agents put this home at $1 million. Now, the house was listed at $1.5 million. Now, I was kind of like, oh God, that seems really, really high, but I hadn't done the market evaluation until I got in it, and I was kind of like, holy cow, they are hundreds of thousands of dollars too high. So many times sellers think, well, one agent said it's worth $1.5 million, that's who we're going to go with. And so of course they chose that agent and they completely discounted what the other 2 agents said about the price. Now that in itself is a problem. When you completely discount what an agent is saying because you don't want to hear it or you don't want to believe it. If you have experienced agents into the house and they tell you a certain thing, you may not like them, you may not have to use them, but you really need to kind of take their opinion and say, wow, well, maybe they're going to be bringing buyers to the house and I need to understand, what are they going to be saying to their buyers? And they were going to tell the buyers that the house was worth $1 million. So as I questioned the agent a little bit more, after I sort of picked my mouth up off the floor, I said, well, where did you come up with this price? Because, I sold the house next door, and the house next door was in better condition and it had a full finished basement. Now, she didn't even know that the house next door was a comp, and it had been sold about 10 months prior. And she said, well, the house down the street just sold for $2 million. And I was like, the house down the street sold for $2 million? That's a brand new construction. And she's like, yeah, but if somebody's going to pay $2 million for that, they're going to pay $1.5 million for my house. And I was like, oh my gosh, this agent has literally no idea what she's talking about. And so when the seller was talking with the agent, that all made sense to her. The seller was not very knowledgeable about how to price a home. So therefore they went on the market at $1.5 million. So now the other thing is that these sellers went and purchased a new home based on the fact they thought they were going to get $1.5 million for their house. And now the home had been on the market for 10 months. Yep. 10 months it was on the market. And of course they had to keep reducing and reducing and reducing the price until it finally sold for $900,000. Yep, it was even under what the other two agents said the home was probably worth. So this is really the reason that I have come out to do this channel, is because there are a lot of bad real estate agents out there. You guys know I hate talking about it, but it's the truth. There are a lot of inexperienced agents who give advice and they don't realize the consequences of the advice that they're giving. The consequences of some agents' advice can cost you tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm not joking. This is a situation where they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because they listened to one singular agent. They listened to what they wanted to hear, but the purpose of this channel is to educate you so that you can go out there and be a partner with your agent, and also to make sure that you have an experienced agent in your pocket. Now, this agent has been in the industry for 25 years, very experienced. However, this agent had only sold 2 homes in the past year. This was a family friend that they had used, and they felt well obligated to use that agent. So this agent was not up on the pricing, wasn't doing this every day, wasn't a full-time agent, and didn't really know what was going on in the market. In addition, she tried to comp this brand new construction, beautiful new construction down the street with a home that was 20 years old, because she, in her mind, thought, well, somebody's paying $2 million for that. I've already accounted for it. It's $500,000 less. So this is why it's imperative that you make sure you get an experienced agent to come out and talk to you about your house. And I really recommend 2 to 3 agents. An experienced agent, I really believe, has to have sold at least 30 to 50 homes in the previous year. I want to see 150 homes in the last 5 years that they've sold. I want to make sure that they are a full-time agent. Now, if you are struggling trying to figure out if your agent is a good agent, or if you want some recommendations, you guys know you can reach out to me. Either scan the QR code or click on the link below, and I'll make sure we get you 2 to 3 agents who meet all of our criteria so that you can know going into this that you've got the right representation. So now I want to get into this exact method that you need to do in order to figure out what your home is worth. Also, I get a lot of agents watching my channel, and I'm telling you, they should be watching this channel because they don't even know some of what I'm going to teach you. So I'm going to talk to you about 4 numbers that you really need to understand. The first 2 numbers are most significant: the appraised value and the market value of a home. The other 2 numbers are the price to sell now and what your list price should be. But I want to focus first on the appraised value. Now, appraised value means what a home is worth on paper. So as most of you probably know, a mortgage requires an appraisal, and the bank is going to order an appraisal for the house. And an appraisal is kind of an apples for apples on paper look at the house, okay? So they take in age of the home, square footage, condition, location, but it's basically on paper, and they can kind of see that from looking at it. It's apples to apples. Now, if a buyer cannot get their appraisal to come in at what they offered on the home, most likely they're not going to get their mortgage. This is why it's really, really important that you understand the appraised number. Now, there's a lot of ways around this. If you have an experienced agent, they're going to be able to help you through this. But the appraisal is a really, really important number to know. This is usually going to be homes within the last 3 to 6 months that are sort of in your location. Now, in your location can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. An appraiser may use a 1-mile radius around your home. However, if you're right on the border of another town, they might pull into the other town. But you in your mind are thinking, well, those aren't comps, those are in the other town. But the appraiser is just looking for apples to apples, these homes have sold, and is not looking at what the market is telling him. It's not looking at the desire of the home. Now, I want you to look at what the market value is. And this is what most people don't look at, is what is the market doing at the moment that the house is going on the market. So the market value is the price a buyer is willing to pay for the home at that point in time. So this can go up depending on a lot of things. The market value can go up based on its location or interest rates or desire. Let's say there's no other home like this ever that comes on the market, or maybe this home backs up to a train, like that will take it down. So you need to look at what is the market going to pay for this house. You can't just look at the appraised value of a home that's just down the street. It's just not the same. You have to take into consideration the market value. Now, here's where a lot of people don't look at what's going on. The market value is really what's going on right at that moment. The appraised value is looking for things 3 to 6 months back. So if you are in like a market that's going down, if there's not enough buyers out there, the agents can feel that that buyer is not out there. They can feel that there's a softening of the market. So that means your market value is probably going down. Now, when things were really hot, you could feel that the market market was going up. So the appraised values were lower than the market values. So this is really, really important, is I want you to look at your house, first of all, in the appraised numbers, and second of all, in the market value. I'm going to actually show you how to do this in a minute in Zillow, so all of you can do it yourselves. But this is really, really significant. There are two numbers that you need to know, that market value and that appraised value. Now, you also have to keep in mind that with market value, there may be a reason why somebody may not purchase your home at all. Okay, you may have a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath colonial next door to somebody else, but if there is literally no backyard, let's say it's on a corner or there is no backyard, you literally may not have somebody who is going to buy that house. Now, in my seller's playbook, I do have my quiz, the investment matrix, which you can go ahead and put all the categories of your home in there. And what it's going to do is it's going to shoot out what kind of category your home is in. One of the questions I have in there is, there's something about your house that means somebody won't buy it. Like, there's no basement. In the Chicagoland area, you really need a basement. In the Florida area, you really need a pool. Are you in a really bad location? Is your layout really bad? Like, I need you to really look at this objectively and say, listen, is there a reason somebody may not buy my house? Now, that does not have to do with, is your kitchen updated or your bathrooms updated? This is something significant and something major. So you need to be really, really honest with yourselves and find out, is there a reason somebody may not purchase your home? So now, I want you to keep in mind that a buyer may pay more than the appraised value if a few things are going on. If there's no inventory, if they need to get in right away, maybe it's a school situation, something like that. Maybe they want to lock in on their interest rate, or maybe they really know that this is a once-in-a-lifetime type of home. In that situation, people are most likely going to pay more than the appraised value, and that means the market value is going to be worth more than the appraised value. Now, a buyer might pay less than the appraised value if there is a lot of inventory on the market, so they have a lot to choose from. Maybe if they're not in a hurry, they don't have to work on timing. If interest rates are high, they may wait. If the property needs a lot of work, if property taxes are high, that might not be a reason why they'd pay you what the appraised value of the home is worth. So these are all things that are working in conjunction with each other that you need to take into consideration. All right, the first thing I want you to do is go to Zillow, and you are going to put your home in, and you're going to start by just putting your home in. You're going to see what Zillow says your home is probably worth. Now, this is an algorithm based upon every other home that's on the market. The reason I don't always discount this is because it's giving you an algorithm of the market, closed and active homes. So take that with a grain of salt, but that is what Zillow says. Then what you're going to do is you're going to do a search in your specific area. Remember, I told you an appraiser might take kind of a bigger area, maybe a mile radius. You are going to take just like your subdivision, or you're going to take just your school district. You're going to take something is kind of the reason somebody might buy your house. Maybe you're in a great subdivision, maybe you're in the downtown area, maybe you're in a rural area. So it kind of needs to be like similar homes where somebody would be looking at all the homes that are coming on in that part of the market. Now, I want you to start by just looking at all the active homes, and I want you to take a very good look at this, and I want you to see what homes are on the market in that area that are active. You need to be objective. I want you to be looking at the square footage, the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the condition, the location, the yard. Is there a basement? Is there not a basement? Is there a pool? Is there not a pool? In my seller's playbook, I have a link for you for the spreadsheet that you can go ahead and just make a copy of and use it for your own. I want you to put all of the homes in there, and I want you to be very, very objective, and then you'll be able to see everything that's sold in your area in the last 3 to 6 months. So after you do that with the homes that are, active, you're going to go and you're going to do that with the sold homes. Now, I only want you to go back 3 to 6 months, okay? If you're in a changing market, you need to start with 3 months. And then you're going to put in all the homes in 3 months that have sold in that very tight area. You're not going to discount any of them because you think, oh, that has more square footage, that has less square footage. Oh, that's not like ours. Nobody would look at that. And I want you to see what people are paying for homes. Now, you may have to go back 6 months. So what you're going to do is you're going to end up seeing all of these things in the spreadsheet, and you're going to do objective view, square footage. You're going to do bedrooms, bathrooms, location. This is all what an appraiser would look at. And you're going to get kind of a number that an appraiser would be. And now what you're going to do is you're going to do the market value. And the market value is what is somebody going to pay for your home. And the way you can value this is, let's pretend your home needs a ton of work. Your market value is going to be less than the appraised value. It's going to be lower than a home that has been completely updated, that has the same square footage as yours. So you need to see, is there something about your home that is not really appealing? Or maybe you have something awesome. Maybe you're in the best location in all of your town. So that's going to give you a little bit more on the market value. Now, after you do all this, after you've seen all this, I just need you to be really, really objective. And you're going to go through and you're going to kind of say, okay, this house is similar. We're going to give me a little bit more or a little bit less based upon the condition. All right, that's a huge deal. If you have deferred maintenance, how are the photos showing? Are you going to be able to show really well? And you're going to give yourself points for that. Now, like I said, all this is my seller's playbook and you can kind of walk through it a little bit, but I'm just giving you this broad outline so you can just hop on Zillow right now. This is where I want you to kind of take a deep breath. And now what I want you to do is I want you to start to go lower and lower and lower. And I want you to look at some of the ones that are really low. I want you to look at some of the ones where you're like, my home is definitely not worth that. I mean, my home is way better than that. And I want you to do the same exercise and put these homes into your spreadsheet because you need to understand what is the market going to tell you. And if somebody bought a home that's $200,000 less than what you think your home is worth and they are comps, a buyer is going to see that as well. Now, if the seller that I talked to you about at the beginning of the story had really done this exercise, they would have known that the house next door sold for $1,250,000. They would have known that house had a full finished basement and their house did not have a basement. They would have known that their house needed more updates than the house next door. And so then they would have said, wow, well, if that house sold for $1,250,000, maybe ours is only worth $1,000,001 or maybe $1 million. Instead, what they did is they found the one comp that they wanted to hang their hat on. And they said, well, that house sold for $2 million. Our house can sell for $1.5 million. Now, after everything I've told you, can you see that that house was new? Now, the appraisal on the house might have been $1.5 million, but the market value is much different for a home that is 20 years older than a new construction home. So just because there are comps out there that you think justify your price, it does not mean that is what a buyer sees. And it is imperative that you understand what your home possibly is worth. Now, after you do the appraised value, the market value, you're going to do the price to list now. This is your fire sale price. Like if you had to sell right now without doing anything, I want you to know what that number is. It doesn't mean that's what you're going to list it at, but I need you to know. For example, on this house that was being sold, my guess is the price to sell now maybe would have been $1 million if they had listed at that time. But because they waited 10 months, now it's only $900,000. That's what somebody was willing to pay for it. I need you to be honest with yourselves. I need you to really, really look at this data. Now, from there, you can find a correct list price. And I want you to take that appraised value and I want you to figure out, is the market going up or is it going down? Now, this is where you might need a real estate agent to come in and kind of talk to you about it, but you can do a lot of this research on your own. Is the market going up? If it's going up, I would take that appraised number and I would probably price it at maybe that appraised number because you probably will get offers over that price. If the market is going down, you probably need to be priced a little bit below the appraised value. This is absolutely imperative that you understand what is the market doing in your current market. Now, this strategy I've employed and taught thousands of times to people. And I really feel like if you do this strategy, you are somewhere between 25,000 above or 25,000 below that list price on where I'm telling you. But the key is that you have to be honest with yourself. You've got to really, really figure out, are you being objective? Are you just hearing what you want to hear? Are you telling yourselves, oh, sure, this isn't a big deal? Are you listening maybe to the agents who aren't telling you the truth or maybe just telling you what you want to hear? So now there are ways that you can get your price of your home higher. You definitely can update it. You can do things around the house. You can make it look better. You can't change its location. You probably can't change its yard size. But what you can do is you can start to educate yourself. So now if you've liked what you've heard here, I want to make sure you subscribe. Also, you guys know my seller's playbook has all of that information that you need. And you know, all of my videos are going to help you get your home sold higher and faster when you go on the market. And I'm telling you, with a lot less stress. I get people telling me every day that they wish that they had found me sooner. And I am so glad you're here. I am here for you. You know that. I want you to watch this next video on what you should not be updating in your home. In addition, I want to make sure that you join our Facebook group. And this is where we have collaboration. I answer every single post in there about what you should be doing to get your home ready. If you have a question about commissions, things like that, please make sure you do your education to become a profitable homeowner.